Lamer Gamers. This is Lamer Travis and
Rowdy 5000
for the Lamer Gamers podcast. I happened to find Rowdy in a warp pipe, so he's back. Welcome back, Rowdy.
Hey, thanks. Don't know how long it's gonna last, but
hey, that's
hopefully for a little while.
Yeah,
I'm about to go back to working days, so I might be able to do more. Ooh. We'll see.
Or I'm gonna scare Rowdy away from all of our music in this episode. Anyway, editing. Okay, guys, in today's episode, we're going to talk about everything from Alien Pugs and Halo to upcoming game expansions for Hollow Knight and Stardew Valley to Cyberpunk 2077 news, because you haven't heard enough of that yet, and
oh my
more.
Gosh. It's nonstop.
In the news roundup. Cyberpunk news is everywhere, and it's all bad. It's just like 1,000 angry piranha journalists that are just looking for any morsel. They just smell the blood in the water, and they just start vibrating and getting angry and toothy. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, anyway. Then we're going to talk about games that we've played, such as Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Dragon Quest. It's got letters in it. 11. Rowdy, what games have you been playing?
Was the Immortals Phoenix Rising, Fuser. There's some other ones in there. I got them on a list, but I can't remember them offhand.
Yeah, we're going to talk about games, guys. All right.
I've had a few days off, man. I actually got to play a little bit of games.
It's nice. Having time is really fun. All right, then we're going to end the show with a special bonus points segment where we asked a bunch of lamers if they think Nintendo can survive the next generation. It's what it is.
It's going to get a little heated.
It'll get a little heated, but we're not necessarily saying that we think Nintendo's going to just up and kill over, right? So we'll get to it. Yeah, we'll get to that. All right, guys. I got to tell you, we have some exciting news.
Very exciting news.
Super exciting, and it smells a little bit like fried chicken. Before we get started, we'd like to let you know that we finally have sponsors on the show. We've been contacted by multiple fast food companies planning on releasing competition to the most epic console of all time. The KFC Console. So,
the Kentucky Fried Console.
It's delightful. So, expect a couple commercials today during the show that will totally not interrupt your regularly scheduled Lamer Gamers podcast. All right, it's time to cue the officially unofficial sponsored music.
Musical interlude provided by the McDonald's Shake Machine Console. Who needs to keep chicken hot when you have a nice cool shake or McFlurry anytime? By anytime, we mean when the console is working and definitely not overheating. By that, we mean definitely not after 11 p.m. and definitely not when you actually want to buy a shake from us. Okay, so it may not actually be working yet or ever. We don't know. Just buy it. Now, cue the real music.
And pull up to the window.
Before we press the start button on the news, if you like what we're doing, don't forget to press up, up, down, down, left, right, BA start, then like and subscribe on your current podcasting provider. Also, check out @LamerGamersCast on Twitter and share the show with a lamer you know.
And sponsor time. After you share the show with the lamer you know, head on down to that shady part of town to pick up a hot and ready Little Caesars console. It's cheap, has imitation parts, and a surprising amount of sawdust in it.
I think it's called cellulose in the ingredients.
Look, Rowdy, it's sawdust. I mean, that's a fancy word for sawdust, but who cares? It's only $5. And your kids really won't care because they don't have good taste anyway.
It's also the only console that can play Cyberpunk 2077 perfectly at 240 frames per second.
Which is fascinating. Like, I don't understand how this works. They must be taking something.
Well,
We'll
I
see.
mean,
It's a Little Caesars.
You can if you add on the crazy bread, you could bump it up to 8K.
Oh, that crazy bread, man. All right. Well, let's get to the news roundup now that that's officially sponsored. Since we've been gone, there's been a ton of news, but honestly, you've probably read it by now.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah. So we're gonna probably focus on, and I think in general with the podcast, we're gonna just focus on news that makes us happy.
Yeah.
You know what makes everybody happy?
Dogs.
And pugs. Well, specifically alien pugs. Now, what do I mean by alien pugs? Well, the Halo Instagram page has released a picture of their favorite pug, Gyoza. They say it is their best friend of their studio's technical art director. His grunts, breath, and excitement are sure to make some interesting sounds in Halo Infinite. So, it's a pug that is essentially making all of those lovely alien noises in the Halo games.
Dude, that's funny. Like, I've seen, like, every few months, something like this will pop up. Because I want to say this is not the first time that they've used maybe this pug or maybe other pugs in the past. But yeah, I would love to play the clip. But I think it may have Halo music in it. And I don't want to get copyright struck.
So if you're afraid of the aliens in Halo, you just imagine them all with little pug heads. Didn't they do that in Waterboy?
Something along those lines.
That's exactly what you do.
Oh my gosh.
Just be like, you look at the little alien monster, Craig, and you just go, "Oh, it's so cute." Okay. But that's got to be a really fun job. I called it sound engineering, but it's got another name. I think Rowdy knows the technical term for it.
I mean, it's all technically sound engineering, but I think this is called Foley work, where they use like a Foley microphone for it to just basically capture random sound effects that they come across.
I would have way too much fun on that job, and it would probably leak into real life. I just like sit in the bushes with some coconuts, making it seem like people are horses, like in Monty Python.
The whole Foley work stuff, like these people get really into it. The best one I've seen was for Doom 2016 when they were making that game. The people who were doing the sound effects and the Foley work for that. When they needed to make disembowelment sounds, basically,
that's a lovely, like, what is your job today? I'm making disembowelment sounds.
I have to imitate organs hitting the ground.
So what do you do when you need to make organs sound like they're hitting the ground?
So they would take, it was a giant like Rubbermaid container where they basically just dumped like canned soup and raw meat into it and recorded that.
Remind me to never go to their house for soup night.
So basically, when you're playing Doom and you hear the glub glub sounds of organs hitting the ground, just think Campbell's Chunky Soup. Not sponsored, by the way.
Oh, we should have made a Campbell's Chunky Soup console. Andy Warhol helped design it. Some art nerd will get that joke. It's okay.
Oh, man.
Now, the difference here between the pug making the noises and the Doom monsters, they're actually dropping body parts on the ground, it seems. So they are actually frightening. But in the game, whenever you like destroy an enemy in the new Doom, it's like sparkle confetti fun time.
No, it's crazy.
There's so many colors. It's just so bright and colorful whenever you do that.
Who knew there were so many different shades of red?
I know. Oh, no, I'm talking about the power-ups.
Oh, gotcha.
Like your ammo and stuff, like on an HDR TV, it's just like green and yellow and blue.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
like all of your, the ammo and just, it's just ridiculous. All the different icons there are.
All right. Next up is not quite a nerd alert, but it's really nerdy news.
Very nerdy news.
This might be too nerdy for you. There is an official Linux driver for the fancy DualSense controller on the PS5. Now, that sounds like you don't care, like in general, unless you're one of those 10 or 15 people that are just really into Linux. And don't worry, you will let us know, I'm sure. But but this is not the target. It's not that person. Don't worry, guys. I used to kind of be that person, so I'm making fun of myself a little bit. It's really for Android, okay? Because the way Android works is basically running off of what's called a Linux kernel. So this driver is implementing support to basically work in USB mode. This does not work wirelessly like with an Android tablet or anything. It supports fascinating features like buttons and sticks.
I would hope.
Yeah, it doesn't implement the fancy tensile triggers or whatever they're called, hard pull down thingies.
All I've ever heard it described as is resistance or resistant triggers,
yes.
Maybe.
Viva la resistance triggers. Yes.
To me, that seems like it would be wasted to even hook your DualSense up to stuff like that. Because, I mean, the reason why you use the PS5 DualSense controller is because of the rumble and the resistance of the triggers. It just seems lost on me. Plus, like, you could probably get more... You can get more battery life out of the Xbox One controllers or the PS4 controllers. Or, hell, even PS3 controllers. Because those will do. I know those for sure will do iOS and Android. So like, there's so many other choices out there. Don't use the DualSense. Don't be that guy.
So, do you think, being our resident PlayStation 5 guru, do you think this could lead into potential cloud gaming?
Maybe. Because PlayStation has just recently tried to, well, they haven't been pushing PS Now very much, but a lot of games that were on PS Now are available on PS Plus for to play if you become a PS Plus member when you get your PlayStation 5. And it's a lot of good games, so I don't know. They may be trying to mix PS Now and PS Plus, kind of like Xbox did when they did games with Gold and Game Pass under the same subscription
umbrella.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering because
we'll
Game Pass Ultimate includes xCloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can play any of your games that are on Game Pass on your phone. I was actually playing Dragon Quest like that the other day because I'm a masochist and hate myself. But actually, it wasn't too bad. They actually have it to where you don't need a controller on some of these games now.
So you use like touchscreen?
Yeah, it was functional for an RPG.
No,
we'll just say that. Like any other way, like would not have worked, but it was functional.
Touchscreen controls make me want to vomit.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely not the person for that. But anyway, so if you are an Android nerd and you want to use the PlayStation 5, or if you want to play some Linux games with it, just keep in mind it is currently being updated too. I mean, if you're one of those people that use Linux products, it's always being updated.
Yeah.
But I love it. As a nerd, I love reading the source code because whenever people edit things or add stuff to it that are suggested, you'll see little comments like, "Oh, that's a good idea." Because people talk like Muppets that are coding for Linux, apparently. But anyway,
the only time I mess with Linux is when I built I put together like a little Raspberry Pi console, and I installed Linux on it, but all I basically had to do was copy and paste. Like I didn't get
that's
too
most of
into
what I did.
it.
I say I did a lot of Linux stuff, but I mostly just stole things. Hey, all right. Next up. Next one, Silk Song is coming soon. If you are a fan of the Hollow Knight, you'll be excited to hear this. Rowdy, you were a fan of the Hollow Knight, right?
Yeah, man. I played a good bit of it. I was probably, 15 hours in or so. before, I don't know, I think another game came out and I got sidetracked and just never went back and beat it. But I was a huge fan of it. I really liked the series.
You sound exactly like me.
Yeah.
Whenever you said that, I did the same thing, to be honest. I need to go back and finish it. Now, I do know people. I know one of our listeners, Drufus, over at Game Witness Discord and on the Lame Gamers Discord. He has been speed running the game, and I think he beat it in like 8 hours the other day. Some people just want to torture themselves, I guess. Anyway, he's gonna love this new edition because, according to an Edge magazine, you know those fancy ancient sources of paper that are bound by glue or stapled. Sometimes they're stapled, and they used to be in Walmart aisles.
I think I vaguely remember something like that.
I know they're not really found anymore, but they are apparently on sale still through Edge. There was an interview with the co-directors Ari Gibson and William Pellin where they detailed new things about Silksong. Now, there's a new world called Farloom. By the way, you're going to hear all sorts of weaving and sewing puns.
Silksong, Farloom.
Yeah, and it gets bad. In fact, I know most of these because I was in a looming class back in the day. Now, I don't mean a class that's like looming up on me or something. Like
by a loom class, he was a Fruit of a Loom's underwear inspector at the factory.
No, I was not, Rowdy. I used a wooden machine and loomed things. I probably did looming with your wife at some point.
Whoa.
Well, no, not like that. I probably had a class with her. I don't know. I don't remember if I had that class with her. I know I had like ceramics. But anyway.
I knew what you meant. That was just funny.
All right. Next up. So Hornet, according to Gibson, Hornet is the protagonist, right?
Yeah.
But she was not the one so that, good in the game.
She was the one you had to fight a couple times. And she was always running around from you, like when you got to certain places. But I think was eventually on your side. Like it was weird.
Yeah. So Hornet can travel so much faster. She can jump higher. She can mantle or clamber onto ledges. This is the word that is eluding us. I think we determined it was scurrying or climbing up. My wife chimed in and said we were dumb. But I mean, she didn't really say that. But
that happens a lot.
That's okay. We don't know words good. Words are hard. Anyway.
I are no speak good.
Yes. So generally this character is more acrobatic and apparently does things like they're from Assassin's Creed, which has amazing climbing skills unless it's a pointy stick or a tree.
Don't get me started on what you can't climb in Assassin's Creed.
Oh, no. We're talking about it later during Gaming Impressions. Just wait. Now, so they've made the caves and everything larger to accommodate her height. Then they also are saying to expect the enemies to present more quote-unquote intriguing challenges.
I don't like that.
I don't like it at all. I'm scared.
Hollow Knight was already hard enough.
Yeah, Hollow Knight got very Soulsborne-esque by the middle or end of it. And that scares me. Yeah. So they said the characters in this game, they're kind of one step beyond that. Where it doesn't quite feel right for them to be that simple. Like, they have to have surprising ways of chasing you. That sounds frightening. Keeping up with you or evading your attacks. Now that's what's going to annoy me.
Ugh. That sounds very Soulsborne-ish.
Yes.
Hey, so real quick, I gotta say, I'm sorry to all the listeners. Like, they're still popping fireworks around my place.
It's 2021. Let's just have all sorts of explosions in the sky.
Yeah, it's like all still going on, but if it picks up on the recording, sorry.
It's cool. They'll deal with it. All right. So next up, let's talk about something that is not going to be terrifyingly stressful. Stardew Valley 1.5 is coming out by the end of January for consoles.
I can't believe this game is still getting updated, man.
Well, the thing is, this number is tricky. You would think whenever you hear 1.5, what do you think? You just think like a simple update, right? Like
No.
maybe they add new animations to cats. So a 1.5 update is usually stability and cat DLC. I don't know, but this is not that kind of thing. This is more like an expansion. So there's a lot of stuff on here. There's a new world called Ginger Island, which is part of the Fern Islands. New locations, dialogue, minigames, puzzles, quest lines, all sorts of enemies. Like, I wrote a bunch of stuff down, then I erased a whole bunch of it because I didn't want to spend the entire show talking about what's new.
Christ, man. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, there's new farming features. There's a beach farm now, ostriches, home renovation, and most importantly, the ducks can swim.
Okay.
They
Okay.
can swim now. Apparently, these ducks were stupid and didn't realize their true purpose in life beforehand.
All right.
Yeah, because ducks now can swim. There's new content such as dwarvish forges, weapon enchanting, special orders, more community upgrades, all sorts of new crops, craftable items. There's bug steaks now for food.
Bug steaks.
Bug steaks.
What about bug
That's what
snacks, though?
No, ooh, I don't know if there's bug snacks in there, Rowdy.
Just bug
That is
steaks.
a good question. Bug steaks. Now, I would imagine, does that count as like a meat alternative?
I mean,
Is that what the Impossible Whopper is made out of?
I don't know. I have seen a vegetarian swear up and down that they could eat bugs, but that doesn't sound very vegetarian-ish to me.
Yeah, we'll have to get some clarification on that. All right. So, yeah, there's too much stuff to talk about. It's like an expansion. If you're a fan of Stardew Valley, you will be excited. Go find your beach clothes, get an umbrella, get some suntan lotion because you're going to the beach.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Side note, this has nothing to do with video games or anything like
gosh.
that. Did you know
Side
that
quest.
Did you know that figs are not vegan?
Figs are not vegan. Explain,
Yes.
please.
You would think figs are vegan because they are a fruit. No, every single fig has eaten a wasp.
What?
Yes, figs eat wasps. Therefore, anytime you eat a fig, there is digested wasps in that fig. So think about that the next time you're trying to eat a fig Newton.
Nah, man, I'm going to go outside, sit outside a wasp nest, and just stare at him, eating fig Newtons menacingly, knowing that their figs eat wasps. I will show them who is boss. I will put figs on sticks outside because I hate wasps. Any flying, stinging insect death bringer can stay away.
So that's your odd fact of the day.
Side quest fact of the day. Yes.
All right,
I
onward.
feel like we need the more you know thing, but we'd probably get copyright struck.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, speaking of new stuff, Psychonauts 2 is finally coming out in 2021. Now, did you ever play Psychonauts 1?
I did not.
Okay, so I'm not super familiar with the game. I kind of have a basic idea of it. I've never played 1, but guess what?
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass, so I'm going to have to play it. So, in an interview with IGN, the Double Fine boss, that sounds so funny. It's Double Fine Studios, but hi, I'm the Double Fine boss.
Old Tim Schafer himself.
Yeah. So Tim Schafer, are you familiar with the Schafer?
Oh yeah, I've played quite a few Double Fine games. Like he's the one who like comes up with like he creates, he designs, like he writes like a lot of these games. there was that one that had Jack Black in it, Brutal Legend, where that was a Double Fine game. I don't know. There's quite a few games, but I first really found out who Tim Schafer was when they put out like a documentary about the game Brutal Legend when it was being made. And I watched that because that was a very interesting game because there was a whole lot of rock and metal music in it. Like Ozzy Osbourne was actually a character in the game. Like it was a crazy game. So Tim Schafer, man, he makes some out there stuff.
So Tim Schafer, who apparently is Double Fine, says 2020 definitely did not speed up development of Psychonauts 2, but we mostly now have everything in the game. That sounds promising. It sounds like a Cyberpunk line. The fact that I can say we're starting to work on the end credits kind of shows you where we're at least for us. That means we're closing in on finishing the game. We're mostly moving on to the polishing of stuff that's in the game already. I'm curious what their end credits are, if they're like talking about working on the end credits.
Yeah.
So, now that they're finishing up this game, what are they going to tackle next? So a lot of people are really trying to get them to convince them to work on freaking Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
Things. Did they work on a Banjo-Kazooie game? Were they involved with the Nuts and Bolts game?
No, from what I understand, it was just Rare. I forget who did Nuts and Bolts, but I don't think it was Double Fine.
So he said, it's interesting to think about, but I feel they wouldn't be the best use of Double Fine. Because I think our whole thing is making stuff up. People somehow got in their heads that we should do a Banjo-Kazooie game. Why should Double Fine make Banjo-Kazooie? Have you heard about this company called Rare?
Yeah.
I think that's actually what he said. I think they're still around. It's nice to think about. It's nice to people think about us when they think of this game because blah, 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 blah. I really liked it. And if people think about Double Fine when they think of brightly colored platformers that are a joy to experience, that's great. But we'll make up something new that people like just as much.
Yeah, so, they are pretty good with their original games, man. People do seem to really like them.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I'm curious to see how it is. I know it was a Kickstarter game. So we'll check it out. We'll have to talk about it in Impressions in the future.
So here's another thing about Psychonauts. I don't know if you knew, or at least Psychonauts 2.
I know nothing, Jon Snow.
Well, so they had the game written and everything, and apparently storyboarded and everything. But before they started work on the game, they had to start already making budget cuts. So they cut all bosses from the game, except for maybe the final boss. I'm not sure. So when Double Fine was acquired by Microsoft, that's how they got the capital to finish the game how they originally planned.
Big Daddy Moneybags came in.
So that's why they're able to completely finish up the game now and add everything in that they wanted to. Because this game was supposed to come out, a while ago.
Dollar Bill Gates came in and was like, hey, you want some money?
Pretty much.
Bill Gates isn't involved with Microsoft anymore, but anyway. I don't think I've ever heard that. That's how I'm referring to Bill Gates in the future from now on. All right. Hey, Rowdy.
What's up?
Guess what it's time for?
Oh, is it time for another one of those fancy ads?
It's time for our next sponsorship. Our next segment is the Cyberpunk Complaints segment, and it's brought to you by In-N-Out Console. This console is available only for sale in California, and really only good if you know how to hack it for the hidden menus. And just like the worldwide blockbuster Cyberpunk 2077, it tends to go bad after 5 minutes and has artificially high ratings. Order now for a special animal style that drips a secret sauce on the floor and somehow smells like an alley you probably shouldn't have gone in downtown LA. In fact, can anybody get us an Uber so we can get out of here? Anybody?
Oh, man.
Probably shouldn't yell. I don't think we need to yell.
I don't think the sponsors are going to like that ad.
Probably not. That's gonna. We might be from Texas.
Might be.
We might be from Texas. All right, so Rowdy, Did you know that they're talking about Cyberpunk free DLC?
Yeah,
Wait,
but I never knew
that makes
any
it
of
sound like there's no Cyberpunk in it.
free Cyberpunk DLC.
Yeah. So do you know anything about this? Because
No. All I
So-
know is that they keep talking about DLC that's coming in 2021 and then multiplayer that's coming in 2022.
I think they should title this DLC. It should be called "The Stuff That Should Have Already Come with the Game" DLC.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
hitting in early 2021. Now I have questions why they're doing this. I mean, they kind of have a couple consoles to fix it on, but I mean it is playable on PC. It's playable on the Series X. It's playable on the PlayStation 5, but it's missing like city density mostly on there. But you know, we'll see if that happens because we know how great they've been lately at following through with promises.
I mean, I hear it's a great game, just it's got more bugs in it than Bug Snacks.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Lots of T-posing apparently. There's some good videos of unpatched like Xbox One versions, which are the worst. The original Xbox One, I mean, isn't really that much stronger than a Switch if you look at it too hard.
Oh.
Yeah, but
The,
it apparently runs really, really bad.
There was a glitch I saw where somebody was riding on a motorcycle, then all of a sudden their character T-posed on top of the motorcycle naked.
As one does.
Yep.
I've seen that in LA by an In-N-Out too. All right. Sorry, California listeners. Next up, they're like, oh no, we've seen it too. Don't worry. CD Projekt Red. Speaking of over-promising and T-posing, CD Projekt Red is being sued by investors for basically losing investor money with this launch. I mean, they have a point though, right? They did drop a lot of money. I wonder what their stock is right now.
So the stock did drop quite a bit, basically because of all the complaints.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, it's back up. Like, it may not be what it was, but...
Well, I know they had another major drop whenever they basically refunded all the Xbox versions if they wanted to, all the PlayStation 5 and 4 versions. And if I remember correctly, they took it off the storefront. Can you find it on the digital storefront anymore?
So you can't find it on Sony's digital storefront, and the only reason you could still get it on Microsoft's storefront is apparently there is some kind of deal between CD Projekt Red and Microsoft at this point. I don't know what the deal is. One of the news shows I was watching called it a partnership deal.
So I've heard some mixed talk about that. I think they came out and said that was more of a rumor that it was supposed to run better on the Xbox. But I think it all comes down to where you target the development, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, Cyberpunk was made PC first.
Oh yeah.
You know, so getting it to transfer from the PC like source over to the Xbox is way more simple because Xbox Series X, I mean, is very PC like. It's running DirectX. It runs a lot of things that are coded like a PC.
It doesn't run Flash anymore as of today.
Oh, Flash is dead. I forgot about that. I should have included that in the news. Hey guys, Flash is dead.
Yep, as of today,
not the
January
comic character.
1st.
Yeah, Adobe Flash, a lesser known comic character that lets you play games on Newgrounds.com back in the day. So anyway, I completely forgot where I was going with this, Rowdy. Yeah. Secret menus.
Yes.
And stuff. No, Cyberpunk. Sorry, I totally just Cyberpunked out. Like I had a glitch and a T-pose for a minute, and I just started talking all sorts of gobbledygook. But what I'm trying to say is they being sued. So, CD Projekt Red is being sued for basically losing investor money. Now, is this a common thing?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, you see this happen from time to time, but it doesn't really work a lot of the time. According to thebalanceSMB.com, which is like a lawyer stuff website, said that there's a kind of a similar lawsuit with Chipotle, where the stock dramatically fell because there was a whole bunch of foodborne illnesses. Shares fell 47% over 5 months because
I just ate Chipotle.
Did you?
Yes, I really did.
Okay, well, hopefully they're not using food from 2015 still. Anyway, we should have done a Chipotle commercial. This segment's sponsored by Chipotle. It runs just like Chipotle will give you. Anyway,
what was it? You ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
They had there was the season they had where it took place in the future, and they were having commercials for all these different companies. It's like thank you from Verizon, Chipotle, Exxon, one of America's 4 companies.
Oh, that's how it feels, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so they tried to sue Chipotle because they did not disclose changes to its business practices and the history of customer illnesses, but the judge said the lawsuit failed to provide any specific instances of the executives knowing to make false statements or failing to disclose material information. So the lawsuit was dismissed. So at this point, what these investors are going to have to do is show that the CEOs and everybody willfully kept people in the dark about this game, and especially the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 versions. There could be a case of that for maybe the people that bought the game, right? However, they're refunding it. It's not damaging consoles. It's not actually causing damages to the people that purchased it. And the investors' money is not really at risk as much anymore because that stock has gone up since they've taken various actions. So I don't know if that's actually going to work on this one. They've done a pretty good job of reaching out to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know why none of this matters?
Why's that?
It's still the best-selling game on Steam for the 3rd week in a row.
Christ.
It's still selling like crazy on PC.
Yeah.
And you were talking earlier about, people were thinking there's this big Xbox deal. I just think it's coded for the environment and it's working there, and they're having to reconfigure that PS5 and version, which they use PS4 Pro as like their target, and it's just not as easy to develop for when they start with the PC in mind. We saw the same kind of issues almost in reverse with Assassin's Creed. Like the PlayStation 5 Assassin's Creed version is objectively slightly better than the Xbox Series X version, right? Well, Ubisoft's engines focus on the PlayStation coding system essentially before they focus on PC or Xbox. So they port that code from the PlayStation over and then make it work on those systems. I think we're just seeing it in reverse for this.
From what I understand for the Cyberpunk deal is it wasn't anything like that. From what I understand, their deal was like a what is it, like
advertising?
Yeah, because you know how like you'll see the commercial that'll be like Cyberpunk 77 play on Xbox, and there'll be like an Xbox logo. So that's what I understand it is, and that's why it's still on their storefronts.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And honestly, though, I mean, it doesn't play that bad. Like I've actually been playing it, and I'll talk a little bit about it. If you put it in quality mode, 30 frames per second, it still runs in 4K really well. I haven't ran into anything. I actually haven't ran into any bugs, but I've only played a couple hours.
Yeah, I'm still gonna wait.
Oh yeah, I'm not playing the full game right now. But we'll talk more about that.
Hey, they're doing a next gen upgrade for Witcher 3, right?
Really?
Yeah. CD
What are they
Projekt
going to do
Red
to it?
is I don't know. Maybe updated resolutions.
But I
I
mean,
have no idea.
you can already play it in 4K 60 frames per second
I mean,
right now.
you could play it on PC and mod the hell out of it, and it'd be better.
That is true. Maybe they'll upgrade the textures, add some better lighting. It'd be interesting to see a ray trace version, but I don't know if they could do it. All right, Rowdy. Hey, guess what?
What's up?
I think Taco Bell is calling your name.
Oh,
Do you want to read this sponsorship for our Game Pass and PlayStation Plus segment?
oh yeah. I didn't see that here. Yeah. Let me pull up this next ad that we have. Game Pass
yes.
and PlayStation Plus segment provided by the Doritos Locos Taco Bell console. The controllers are already covered in cheese dust and comes with a squirt gun of refried beans. Who needs a water cooler rig when you have Baja Blast Mountain Dew cooling system? It doesn't really play anything but Grand Theft Auto 5 Online and Call of Duty with special Hot Sauce Packet Armor DLC. But were you really going to play anything else anyways? The price is whatever. I mean, you could find it in the console of your car.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much. Just try to get some change together with your friends at 3 a.m.
So when it comes
You want to take over this? Because I don't know any of these things.
Yeah, so when it comes to PlayStation, I've actually stopped paying attention to PlayStation Now.
So I tried to separate them because I still don't understand the difference between the two. So the first one is PlayStation Now, and the second one's PlayStation Plus.
Nope, these are all PlayStation Plus.
Dadgummit! They
Because
don't make it easy to understand.
so the January, no, I take it back. This is the December PlayStation Plus that you have right here. Just Cause 4, Rocket Arena, and Worms Rumble.
Oh.
So yeah, because I have all of those on PlayStation Plus for December, and then the PlayStation Plus January games are Maneater, Shadows of the Tomb Raider, and Greedfall. A game I own, and 2 games that I don't want to play.
Well, I know you liked Maneater, so I'm assuming that's the one you own.
Yeah, Maneater was great, man. I loved it.
So Shadow of the Tomb Raider, why don't you want to play that?
Look, man, the first Tomb Raider reboot I thought was absolutely amazing, but it was just too late. I mean, I'm a Sony fan, so obviously I'm gonna like Uncharted better, but it was still really good. I really enjoyed the Tomb Raider reboot. Then I played, what was it, Rise of the Tomb Raider was the second one, and it was good. It was really good, and then it started to slog. And then I was just like, oh, I have to beat it. I have to know what happens. And then I got to the end of the game, and I was like, I'm done with this series. I will never play another Tomb Raider. That was the worst ending ever.
Oh, man.
It was so bad that now that I think about it, I can't remember what it was. But I know it wasn't worth it.
Rowdy's erased it from his memory.
Yes. Because I have played so many other 80-plus hour games since then that I've already forgotten as well. And Greedfall, I thought that this was Godfall at first.
Oh, no.
So then I was like, oh, man, that's like a PlayStation Time exclusive right now. Like, I'm definitely going to pick that up. And then saw that it was Greedfall. So, I don't know. Greedfall may be good. I'm just disappointed it's not Godfall. That's the only reason I don't want to play it now.
I talked about it 5 or so episodes ago. I was playing Greedfall for a while on the 1X. It's a game made by Spiders. Now,
okay.
Yeah, that's the company. Games
okay.
by Spiders. But the problem is they don't do facial animations really well in this game. So my thought process behind Games by Spiders means that they have taken these 3D models and they filled them with thousands of spiders. And that's what's animating the faces.
Okay.
That's
makes sense.
Next time you play Greedfall, imagine lots of spiders in their skin and adjusting the facial. It will make sense, I promise you. But the game is about you basically going and colonizing areas and having to make decisions that will either help or hurt the people. But you're also going to this area to find a cure for a disease you have. So it's a good. The story's good. There's giant monsters in it you fight. I actually enjoyed it for what it was. I'm waiting to play it again on the Series X because they are going to do a next-gen version of this in the future.
So basically, Medieval 2020, the game.
Yes. Precisely.
Monsters, diseases. All right, got it.
All right, so next up, I found Game Pass in January and Games with Gold have a lot of different things. Some of them are worth playing, some of them are not. First up, Killer Queen Black, which is like an arcade game. I've played a little bit of this on the Switch. I think it was like $2 on the Switch.
It's like was it 8-player or 10-player?
It's fun.
Type arcade game.
If you are looking for a couch co-op game and you're all wearing full body suits, I guess, go for it.
Yeah.
Now, it's good time. Next up, Cyber Shadow, which is made by Yacht Games, who are famous for Shovel Knight, right?
Yes.
So if you want 2D side-scroller action like Ninja Gaiden, you need to look at Cyber Shadow.
Dude, Shovel Knight was an absolute perfect game, and I will fight you if you think otherwise.
I still need to play Shovel Knight.
Dude, it's so good.
I know, it's supposed to be good. All right. Next up, the one that I'm excited about, but not because of the gameplay. The Medium. Not to be confused with the Grande at Starbucks.
Nice.
Is the game that is... I actually don't know if that's what a Grande is at Starbucks. I get confused when I go there.
Travis gets confused
personally.
easily.
I just started making my own coffee because it was too confusing. So, starting sometime the next month or so, I'm actually going to start roasting my own coffee.
Nice.
And we're going to give out little bags of coffee to a listener every episode or so of Lamer Brew. I can't promise you it will be good, but it will be coffee. So yeah, we'll let you know how you can get your hands on that in the future for free.
It might not be good, but it'll make hot brown water.
It'll make that hot brown water. It'll wake you up. All right, so The Medium is a horror game. And it's about a psychic essentially that can see into different worlds. And this game is supposed to show off some of those next-gen capabilities on the Series X, like the new SSD where they swap realities on the fly. So that's supposed to deal with the load times. They're supposed to be ray tracing enabled, but they said some of this stuff for that game Call of the Sea also. And that one was a little rough in spots. They had ray tracing enabled in some things, but it wasn't really intense. But I think that company was like 7 people, so I wasn't surprised. Now, the Medium is a much larger company. It's a Bloober, I believe.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of horror games, so maybe I'll like it, maybe I'll hate it, but I want to see the pretty things, and it's on Game Pass. So
visually, it looks great.
Oh, it looks really cool.
But it looks like the gameplay would put me to sleep.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what... There's some scenes that are like in various churches and things. I'm curious to see what liberties they take on like some of the Catholicism stuff, but we'll see. There's always liberties taken with that. Next up, Yakuza 3 through 5 Remastered is being released.
Basically,
now,
if there's a Yakuza game, it's going to be on Game Pass.
Yeah, because they're alluding to Like a Dragon coming to Game Pass, and I'm not happy about that.
You just bought it.
I just bought Like a Dragon. And at times, it's a little bit like a sleeping dragon. Whenever it's awake, it's great. But there's a lot of naps. Yeah. All right. And finally, Games with Gold. Actually has some decent ones this month. I don't know why they still do Games with Gold. Honestly, it confuses me, but I get the games.
Yeah.
Little Nightmares is supposed to be fantastic from what I've heard. I've never played it,
Everybody
Little
I've heard that
Nightmares?
played it loved it.
Yeah.
They're making a sequel.
Yeah, so everybody says it's great, just not us because we've never played it.
Yeah.
Next up, King of Fighters 13. I have no idea when that was originally released.
Yeah, because I don't know if that's the 13th installment or if it came out in 2013 or if it... Cause
1913.
I know that some of the King of Fighter games were like King of Fighters 97, King of Fighters 98.
Yeah, at some point they just... I don't know what they did with the numbers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was guessing it was by year, but what they've done, it might be like the Resident Evil numbering system. Who knows?
Yep. Then we have Dead Rising, which is a pretty good zombie game.
Loved it.
And Breakdown. So, that is it for the games that are coming to the Game Pass and the PS Now. But guess what it's time for, Rowdy?
What's that?
It's time for another sponsorship.
Oh, snap.
Snap. Do you want to get this one too?
Yeah, I'll grab this one. All right. So, the rumor section is brought to you by the most efficient gaming console of all time, the Dairy Queen Blizzard console. You don't even need to power it. Just flip it upside down a few times and you're ready to game. This month's Blizzard console of the month is Snickerdoodle.
Snickerdoodle flavored consoles.
You know, when I was joking about that yesterday, I didn't realize that not all states have Dairy Queens.
No, it's like a southern thing.
And then like some of them are called Dixie Queens, and then apparently
Brazier, right?
do what?
Isn't there one called Brazier or Brazier or something?
Travis, do you know what a brazier is?
I do, but it's some weird name for Dairy Queens that don't sell any of the things other than the cold stuff.
Yeah, my wife was talking about that. She says they have names elsewhere, but she couldn't really find anything about it. So so Dairy Queen, they just sell like chicken strips and ice cream.
Hey, their nachos are pretty good though.
All right, man. So this is
now I gotta look up Dairy Queen names, right? Because I swear that's a name for the Dairy Queens. I mean, I haven't found a Dairy King. Actually, I've seen a knockoff Dairy Queen called a Dairy King. A Dairy Prince, Dairy Princess. That would probably go really well, actually. So there's also Orange Julius involved. There is! I swear to goodness. The name Brazier originated in 1957 when one of the company's franchisees, Jim Cruikshank, that's a lovely name, set out to develop the standardized food system. When he witnessed the flames rising from an open charcoal grill, a brazier, B-R-A-Z-I-E-R.
a brazier.
Brazier, okay, it's not brazier. According to this, a brazier is a container used to burn charcoal or other solid fuel for cooking, heating, or cultural rituals.
A brazier and a brazier are very different, Travis.
Yes, don't catch your brazier on fire. The image for this shows runes. Shows runes in a fire. So I don't know if those Dairy Queens are trying to summon some sort of Viking stuff.
I mean, it's very possible.
That's my thought now. I don't remember that storyline in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Oh man. Yeah.
All right, so hey, we got the rumors section. So the big rumor that keeps getting repeated, I don't know if it's just like a wishful thing. Ubisoft is coming to the Game Pass. Now, there is some legitimacy to this fake gaming news. A dude named @Jez Corden. Yes, that's his real name. That's on his birth certificate. @Jez
Okay.
Corden. Yeah, totally real, not fake news. All right. He said that I've seen rumors about Ubisoft Uplay joining Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. I think this has a strong chance of being true based on stuff I've heard. Now,
who does this guy work for?
Why should we believe this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. He works for Windows Central. He's an editor. Windows Central is all up in that Microsoft news. You know why?
Because it's Windows Central?
Yeah, I mean, they work with. They're basically almost like a PR arm, unofficially. You know, they don't really write bad things about Windows and Microsoft, and Xbox just happens to be owned by Dollar Bill Gates, or formerly owned by Dollar Bill Gates, who is now no longer with Microsoft. But so why would they do this though? Why are we getting such good things, and why are they spending so much money? I think a lot of this is think about how Netflix started, right? When Netflix started, they invested in companies first for years, and they would bring them on board. Now, some of those companies would go off and kind of make their own streaming service over time, but eventually Netflix started getting people to make their own content. And I'm starting to think, look at what Microsoft's been doing. They've been getting all of these game companies and acquiring them. I think this is kind of like a temporary thing that they're doing to get people really invested in Game Pass before they essentially start doing what Netflix did and start developing content that is actually good. Because Netflix content isn't bad for the most part.
So I
don't know. What do you think?
The reason it wouldn't,
Am I crazy?
The reason it wouldn't surprise me is basically because of what Amazon Luna is doing. Amazon Luna, unlike Stadia, is a one-time subscription or a monthly subscription, and you get to play anything on there. You don't have to buy the games or anything like that. Well, I want to say it's like $8 to $10 somewhere in there per month, but for an extra $4.99, you can add on the Ubisoft channel, and that Ubisoft channel includes games all the way up to Watch Dogs Legion, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Immortals Phoenix Rising. The Ubisoft channel being, I guess, kind of a timed exclusive for Amazon Luna, makes sense that it would go elsewhere. They're just trying it out on Amazon Luna right now, or, Amazon paid them for, I don't know, a timed exclusive. But, I mean, I definitely see the Ubisoft Uplay going to other consoles for sure.
Oh, yeah. All right, next up is a rumor that I think makes sense. So, this has a lovely way that it's put out there. This is from the website GameInfinitus.com.
Okay.
He said, according to what a journalist heard, the game has finished its initial development for Elden Ring.
I was going to say, you hadn't said what game yet.
Elden Ring. Okay, Elden Ring, which is the game that is essentially a Dark Souls game involved with Miyazaki.
Nope. You got that 100% wrong.
Nope. I got it completely wrong. Rowdy, tell me what's right.
It turns out the guy that created the kind of Souls-born genre, his last name is Miyazaki, but not the Miyazaki you're thinking about.
But they're working with G.R.R. Martin, right?
Yes, they are working with old Georgery, ridiculous rump Martin.
They're working with the guy that will never finish Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know who the final boss is in Elden Ring?
George R.R. Martin.
Spoiler alert. It's Bran.
Oh, God.
He has the best story. Oh, man. Sorry. I need to stop that. I'm going to get angry.
The final boss in the game is actually diabetes.
Yes. God. All right, so the game has finished its initial development in early 2020, and it's supposed to be released in late 2020. But due to the COVID-19 impact on development, the polishing stage, which typically takes 8 months, was pushed further ahead. It's going to be, of course, similar to Dark Souls. Another source, this time from a popular Soulsborne creator in China, Longkey, suggests the same regarding the development of the game, but drops further tidbits in video, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, it's probably going to come out this year. I know a lot of people were... Reddit went crazy trying to get that to be the most anticipated game during the Game Awards. So, a lot of people are interested in it that like stress.
So, I don't know when Game Infinitus put this out, but I don't know what console it's available on, but you can actually pre-order this game right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
I think it's on all the consoles, isn't it?
I haven't looked it up because I don't care.
Yeah, it's available on the Atari.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, there is a new Atari console. We just haven't talked about it or cared about it.
We've talked about it
one cares
before.
about it.
It's just, I'm not getting that thing. Believe me, I've bought crappy like 18th party consoles. I'm not getting the Atari console.
Speaking of 18th party consoles or 20-piece consoles, it's time for the Lamer of the Week. Now, the Lamer of the Week is brought to you by the Chick-fil-A console with special paladin armor. Who needs a KFC console when you have the Lord's Chosen Chicken? This console will get you through a game in record time with a smile and a handful of Chick-fil-A sauce. You'll be asking yourself, why can't every other console on the market be this efficient? Now, the only downside, though, Rowdy, is you can't game on Sundays. Not allowed. You have to, do something with your family or go to church. All right. Now, this is sponsored by Chick-fil-A and Popeyes and a whole bunch of chicken places. I think it's sponsored by the, I don't know, probably Bojangles. But they are sponsoring the Lamer of the Week, but it has nothing to do with what their money they're paying us or the amount of chicken they're giving us. So, what is the Lamer of the Week? It is the KFC console is our Lamer of the Week. Now, not because of what it can do, but because it's not cheap enough to be a console. It's all a delicious scam. Now, I've included for Rowdy, not for you on it that it can hear me, because I have not figured out how to make sounds into pictures. But there is pictures of this. Have you seen the console, Rowdy?
Oh, yeah. It's in the shape of the KFC bucket.
It's like a dark bucket.
Yeah.
It's the darkest. It's just a black bucket. And there's a little slot that pops out that has, looks like the room for two chicken. You can't even put a chicken breast in there.
It looks like two chicken legs in there.
That ain't much chicken. that ain't a family-sized chicken console.
But it'll keep your chicken warm.
This is a console for one. It will keep your chicken warm. So, now, do you know anything about how much this thing's going to cost?
From what I saw, like $2,000.
Yeah, so let's go into why it would be $2,000. Now, according to KFC, the arbiter of Kentucky and their chicken, apparently the console can handle 4K 120 frames per second gaming, and it's being made by Cooler Master, which is actually a legitimate company. In fact, every single thing here is by legitimate companies, which scares me. It's going to use a custom chassis, which is a Cooler Master NC100, based on the Intel NUC9 Extreme Compute element with a swappable GPU chamber and a 9th generation Intel i9 processor.
Oh my God.
What in the world is this chicken-loving thing? So, the GPU is made by Asus.
Oh, man.
Not only that, it's going to have 2 terabytes of solid-state drive storage by Seagate Barracuda solid-state drives.
Nice.
How much chicken do you think is being delivered to these companies?
A lot of chicken.
There are buckets everywhere going to these companies right now, powering the engineers and their greasy, chicken-filled hands for these consoles. Now, they're saying that this console is going to be capable of handling real-time ray tracing, VR gaming, 4K at 240 frames per second for select titles, just for some, and more. And it has a special, absolutely hideous controller. It's really just an Xbox Series X controller. But have you scrolled up, Rowdy?
Yep.
Have you scrolled down and saw the picture of this forsaken beast of a controller.
It looks almost as bad as the Butterfinger Xbox controllers that have been being put out recently.
Do you see what it says on the bottom left?
Yep. That's not going to happen when I'm playing a controller. I'm playing with a controller.
Finger clicking good.
Yep.
Can you imagine how greasy this console is? I mean, so what? Why is it? It's being made by Cooler Master because they are essentially figuring out ways to transfer the heat from the GPU and the CPU and everything, which gets really hot, right, to the chicken chamber.
Yep.
To the chicken chamber. The chamber of chickens.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
This console will heat your chicken.
It will definitely heat your chickens. Now I gotta say though, is it a sin if I put Popeye spicy tenders in there? Because those are better.
Yes, you can only put Kentucky Fried Chicken in there.
See that's why it's the lamer of the week. Because I would much prefer our sponsored chicken providers, such as Popeye's chicken sandwich, which this console, the Popeye's chicken sandwich console, is available for a limited time, and then when everybody really, really, really wants it, we're just going to pull it from the market.
And
then we'll release it again, but it's never the same.
And people will get stabbed over it.
There will be some stabbing in line for this console, so we apologize for that. But it's pretty darn good. Now, I got to say, their chicken tenders are better. So, now, there is a problem, though, with the Popeye's chicken console to where they have blackened tenders, but they never want to do that for you. And the game system will look at you in disdain when you order them and tell you it's going to be a 15-minute wait.
Yeah, that's why KFC's better.
Nah, man, Popeye's
nope.
better any day. What is your favorite chicken place?
KFC, man. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, Rowdy did not put the stamp on the lamer of the week.
Oh, no, the console is definitely lamer of the week, but the chicken is not.
Oh, man, this one is a mess. And I know everybody in the world has made fun of it, but we just had to. It is so bad. Now, it's supposedly going to be a good console. Some people will get it for the memery of it, I guess.
Oh, man.
I think it's going to be a fire hazard. Like, what do you do with the chicken drippings?
It's got a place to catch it.
Sure. Do you think these people are going to actually clean it out? Have you seen around some people's computers?
Look, man.
There's still Dr. Pepper cans from the 90s around some computers.
I am a paramedic, and I go into people's houses all the time. Believe me, I have seen it all.
I've seen some dark, scary computers. And then there's like the bug problem. You know, like roaches going to get up in that.
That's why whenever you go to GameStop and you trade in your consoles, they shake it out to make sure there's no roach eggs in it. Or actual roaches.
That was appetizing. Rowdy, we're trying to sell
chicken
consoles for people. Yeah. We can't talk about roach eggs. That's too gross. All right, guys. You got anything else about chickens?
No, man. That's it. KFC's best.
All right. All right, guys. Next up, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing, such as Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Immortal Phoenix Rising, and much more after the break, which will be sponsored. This musical interlude is sponsored by the Whataburger Screw Y'all, We're from Texas console. It plays only in Texas-based video game companies, which will eventually be all of them as they leave Silicon Valley as they come towards Texas and Austin. Now, technically, Whataburger is no longer owned by Austin or owned by Texas anymore, so we're going to ignore that because this console is powered by patty melts and spicy ketchup. Now, between 11 p.m. and 11 a.m., the controllers smell like chicken biscuits and ooze honey butter for reasons. I don't know, man. It's like 2 a.m. and an HBCB sounds pretty good to me. Yeah! Texas console.
Dude.
Whataburger.
Honey butter chicken biscuits really are the best.
They are fantastic. And there's no secret menu
Christ.
involved.
If you ever go buy a Whataburger while you're in the South, honey butter chicken biscuits, get it.
Now, I do like their jalapeno biscuits now. The jalapeno cheddar biscuits,
Yeah.
they're fantastic.
Oh, man.
Oh.
All right. So, now, before we get started talking about the latest games that we've been playing, don't forget that you can head on over to www.lamergamers.com to listen to the show, download episodes, or find a podcast player to subscribe to. Also, you can head over to... Oh, God. Did you... I forgot that you wrote this. You should probably read this part.
You can head on over to your mom's house to pick up the home-cooked meal combo. You would think it's healthy, but your mom's been watching Paula Deen, so this console is the slipperiest controllers in the game. But it sure beats those ramen noodles you've been cooking.
Man. I forgot that you wrote that until I was in the middle of reading it. I was like, nope, you got to read that part.
Oh, man. So, Rowdy, what games have you been playing lately?
So, I got the one I have listed second. We both been playing, so I'm going to probably be my last and your first. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic.
All right, man. So I'm going to start with, I'm still playing Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So I've kind of put this game on the back burner for a little bit because I'm trying to power through another game right now. But I've said before, Hyrule Warriors is one of the greatest Warrior spinoff games to come out. And Age of Calamity is absolutely amazing because it is actually a prequel to Breath of the Wild. It is amazing, like how they tie everything in. I absolutely love it. I think I'm about 25 hours in, and from what I understand is there's, I think, 30 to 40 hours of story in this game. So it's quite a long game, man. And it's weird because of the type of game it is being that long, but it really ties into the story of Breath of the Wild, man. I just got to kind of some twist parts, and we'll see what happens after that, how they're able to tie all this in. But you should definitely check it out.
So I am interested in it. I need to play it. I probably need to charge my Switch.
Dude, it's so good.
And once the end of January hits, it's going to be the official Stardew Valley console.
Nice.
I love the laugh in the background on that one. So there's another game you've been playing that is like Zelda.
Yes.
I'm interested in this game, but
so Immortals Phoenix Rising. This was that game. I don't really know if you remember that they originally called Gods and Monsters.
Yeah, I like that name better.
Yeah, I still keep wanting to call it Immortals, Gods, and Monsters. So I keep mixing them up. But,
I don't like the way they spell Phoenix.
Well, that's the name of the character, so
I know
they've got to spell it weird.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, so this is basically Assassin's Creed Odyssey meets Breath of the Wild. And I do mean that. Like, it controls... The basic controls are just like Assassin's Creed. Your right shoulder button, or R1, depending on whatever you play on, is the attack button, just like Assassin's Creed. You dodge, same button as Assassin's Creed. I mean, it's ridiculous how alike they are. Now, this is also a significantly shorter game. Apparently, the story for this one is... I want to say they said anywhere from like 20, 25 hours. But for a completionist, you're looking at 40 to 50 hours. But I got a couple of hours into it and decided to put it on the back burner as well. I will be playing it though, for sure. I will be finishing it. Next is Fuser.
This is the game you said I would hate.
Yes, you would absolutely hate it, and I mean that.
I'm not good at the music games.
So, were you a Guitar Hero or Rock Band fan?
Okay, so I'm actually looking for Rock Band 4 right now. But
why?
Not to play the music. Like, I only want to do it to sing with the songs, and I find it really good at kind of like training, your voice a bit, doing the vocal stuff.
Yeah.
But most of the songs, the songs got a little bit better. But I'm not going to be like singing to Taylor Swift.
Fuser is made by Harmonix, the people who made Rock Band. But in this one, you are a DJ. So what's cool about it is you basically make mashups the whole time. So each stage is basically, you make your DJ. My guy just so happens to be wearing a bird mask, a tank top, and is only in his underwear.
So your normal way of being on stage.
And starts off every show by doing a backflip off of the turntables. So you have like little challenges that it'll tell you to do, because you have to mix up to 4 songs at one time. So it'll tell you to mix, 2 pop songs with a rock song, and then use the drum tracks from a rap song. So you basically have, you go into each set with X amount of songs that you could add into your turntables, and then you pick which part of the song you want to go in it. So at one part, I kid you not, I've got the vocals of Buddy Holly by Weezer over the bass line and synthesizer tracks to Never Gonna Give You Up, with the drums from, I don't know, some trap rap song.
Ooh,
it was interesting.
That sounds like a terrifying way to rickroll somebody.
I thought I was being rickrolled while playing it. So this is a game that I would absolutely love to play on stream. But again, DMCA takedowns and stuff like that. Now, Twitch may allow you to play Fuser on there, seeing as it is a video game, and Harmonix has the rights to those songs right now.
But do you have the right to broadcast them is the question.
I don't know. That's the whole thing. Because if you have the right to broadcast the game, can you broadcast the songs because they're part of the game? Because they have to be licensed to be in the game. That's the whole thing. So it's real weird the way it's all set up. So I'm actually going to have to look into it. You might enjoy watching the game, but playing it you would hate.
Do I have to press buttons in time with the...
Oh, yes.
I hate it already. So bad.
You have to push them in time, but this is also the first music game I've played where it actually tests the audio and visual fidelity of your TV and sound system. So, like, depending on how you have your sound system set up, when you're playing, like, old Harmonix or Guitar Hero games, like, you could be completely on beat with everything, but seeing as there's a delay between your sound system and the game, you're not going to get high scores because you're technically not on time. So this one actually checked the millisecond latency between my visual, audio, everything like that. So that was really cool. So now, like, I can actually drop the beats in perfect tempo on the perfect beat. It's pretty awesome, man.
There's a setting on my surround sound player that I can actually change the how long it takes, basically.
Yeah.
Before things play. That never thought I'd run into a video game that required me to do that.
Yeah. Oh, this game, you have to set it up in game.
I feel like this is a special rowdy edition of Nerd Alert.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, the special rowdy version. It's got bass.
I was going to go into like key changes and tempo changes and all kind of stuff like that, but I'm going to leave that out.
Oh, sorry, I fell asleep. Oh, I never get to do that to Rowdy. That was fun. All right.
Oh, it's a good game. I'm going to look into possibly playing it on stream, maybe. We'll see. So the next game I've been playing, Animal Crossing.
How's Animal Crossing?
Dude, I still play this game multiple times a week.
I have not touched it. Lake Texas outside of my house is probably infested with snakes.
Dude, it's still so fun. Like, I still open it up almost every day, do like the little loop, dig up my fossils, all that good junk. go sell everything off. Now they've been having they have little events they had Toy Day for around Christmas. There was Turkey Day for around Thanksgiving. You had Halloween. As a matter of fact, we didn't go do anything for New Year's Eve last night. By the way, we're recording this on New Year's Day, January 1st.
Yeah.
But it's not going to come out till, what, 3rd or the 4th?
Yeah, it's a couple days.
But yeah, so we didn't do anything for New Year's Eve because, everything's closed, and the fact that we're old. So
we made sure our dogs didn't run away because it sounded like they were having World War III out here.
So we just did the midnight countdown on Animal Crossing because
that's what we should have done.
There was a big New Year's Eve countdown, and there was hard cider in the game. Well, okay, it wasn't hard cider, but there was cider in the game that you could toast to, and they gave you little light sticks that you could wave around, and Happy New Year's hats, and everybody gathered in the plaza.
We totally should have done Animal Crossing countdown. Dang.
They popped. They had little poppers that you popped off, and a little fireworks show and everything. So that game is still kicking out content.
Man, we tried to watch the Rockin' New Year crap. It was so bad. There was no rock to be had. And everyone looked dead inside. Then we changed it over to Fox. That was worse, but it was so bad that it was kind of funny. It was Kim Jong, the guy that was in what movie? Hangover. Yeah, and some other dude that looked like a Ryan Seacrest knockoff. It might have been Ryan Seacrest, just with a hard life. It was somebody else, yeah. And then they kept going to this lady who looked absolutely lost. Then they moved it over to Jason Biggs at the drop.
Jason Biggs?
Yeah, he looked like he had no clue he was supposed to be on the show. It was so bad. If you could find a clip of the Fox New Year's Eve drop, it was just terrible. But it was so bad it was good.
Yeah, well, Animal Crossing New Year's Eve was awesome.
Animal Crossing, man, I'm jealous. All right. So you know what I'm not jealous of?
What's that?
World of Warcraft players.
Yeah?
I don't like the game.
Why is that? You don't like it?
I tried it. It's not bad. I can see how people like it. I've got to level 11 or 12, which I'm sure is not enough time. But my brain cannot comprehend everything going on the screen, all the different menus, all the special little items and contents, and you got to get this armor, or I don't know. It was confusing. I had somebody walking me through it, and I was still confused. And it just was not, I don't know. I'm definitely not a PC gamer. I don't see how people do MMORPGs. They're just not my bag.
You don't like it because you weren't there from the beginning.
That's probably a big part of it. I think nostalgia is keeping that game going strong. And Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have had a Leroy Jenkins console.
I understand World of Warcraft has a huge player base, but you can't tell me that there is a new expansion that's going to come out and somebody who's never played World of Warcraft is going to look at that expansion and be like, you know what? I'm going to play it now.
That's pretty much what I tried. It's I have time off. I can finally just kind of getting into a sauna, or not a sauna, like a jacuzzi. You got to take a second to get used to it and get acclimated. But the sauna
I was going to make an inappropriate joke, but I decided not to.
Yeah, it's full of World of Warcraft players. Yeah, there's jokes there that I'm not making. All right. Assassin's Creed. I was supposed to talk about that first because you've been playing Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, dude, I've been trying to power through it. That's why some of these games have gotten put on the back burner because some of these games were kind of palate cleansers.
Yeah, I could see that.
Played so much Assassin's Creed, but then when I played Immortals: Phoenix Rising, I was just like, this plays like Assassin's Creed. I should probably finish Assassin's Creed.
That's why I haven't even looked at that game, to be honest, because it took me 101 hours to beat Assassin's Creed. Because
dang,
that game is like delicious ADD food. I just went around and just started gobbling up all the random shiny objects.
Yeah, so I was telling myself I needed to power through it, so I started trying to defeat all the, I guess, shires or the different regions. But then I would get sidetracked because I was like, oh, hey, you can get Thor's armor. I'm going to get that.
See, I didn't even get that yet. I need to go get it. Like, I'm saving that for whenever they have the next... whenever they have real, like, DLC. Like, they've released some horrible DLC that breaks things in the game.
Dude, the Yuletide stuff has been awful.
So bad. They apparently... I don't know how they tested it, because I don't think they did. I've had some dude awful. That's trying to go kill cows and show that he's a man, and then he just starts staring at a tree, and I can't get him back to talk about his manliness.
That is part of the Yuletide one.
It's so stupid.
See, the one that messed up for me was the guy when we tried to go get the beer that was stolen from the brewmaker. Mm-hmm. And so I go
that
into
was messed up for me too.
Dude, it messed up bad. Cause like, so I get this barrel of beer, and then it tells me I have to carry it like 8,000 meters in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it would put it like way on the west side of the map that you would have to cross so many rivers. But you're supposed to be bringing it back to your boat.
The first river that I went to, like, it dropped to the bottom of the river, and then I couldn't get it.
It kept disappearing for me.
Yeah.
And then I kept, like, bringing it back to places. I spent so much time on that mission, and eventually it just showed up in the boat where it was supposed to be.
Duh.
It was, and there was one where you fight people, and random people would just kind of drunkenly go into the circle that's not supposed to have anybody in it, and then the game has the gall to gripe about it when you accidentally kill people.
Dude, I've been yelling at the game all day because of civilians that jump in on stuff.
The thing that really sucks about it on the Series X, I doubt this is a problem on the PlayStation 5. It reintroduced terrible screen tearing.
No. Yeah.
It did that on the PlayStation 5 too. Okay, so it's not just the Series X.
Yeah, the newest update.
It is so bad. You go into some of those northern cities where there's a lot of people there. It just is like Wobble Fest, like it's back on the 1X.
Yeah, I thought I was drunk in game.
Okay, so here's another bug. I love this game so much, but goodness, it's so full of bugs.
More bugs than bug snacks?
And more bugs than bug snacks. Every single time I start my game over, like I go back and continue, because you can't quick resume this game because it always breaks the connection with the Ubisoft servers. Every single time I come back in the game, I'm drunk. The screen is wobbly.
I thought that was...
It's not me either.
Okay. I didn't realize that was a thing. Okay.
Ubisoft, fix your games! Sorry. Got angry. Okay,
yeah,
so
it's a great game, man. I really like it.
It's a fantastic game. Like, I've really enjoyed it. But Ubisoft, fix your games. Okay, so we're on the same level with that. I'm glad to know it's not just like junk version on the Xbox. Next up, Yakuza, Like a Dragon. Drags on.
Yeah.
And on at times. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's a fun game. The fighting is really fun. It's quirky in all the right places, but it takes a little bit of time before it's quirky. It's weird. Don't give it to your kids, I would say also. Because you play as a guy that is essentially like he grew up in a brothel. Like,
nice.
Because he was just kind of dumped there, essentially. Or I think the mom worked at the brothel and then ran off. And the whole thing is centered around you being part of this Yakuza group because you lied about being in this clan, the Tojo clan. So the dude that is the entire leader of the Tojo clan comes up and saves you as a kid, chops off his finger to save you. And so you're like almost indebted to him in a way. But things go sideways, and then you go to jail, and you're in jail for 18 years, and then you get hair that looks terrible, and it just gets wacky. But the problem is, it does drag on. It's a game that I've turned into my nighttime game whenever I just want to chill, because the cutscenes are so long, it will make your Xbox question if it's alive or if you're alive.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a problem. Cutscenes go on and on and on. But man, it's fun. That's what I feel like all these cross-gen games are right now. Man, there's some stuff that's just not right with them, but they're good. Yeah. Next up, I played Dragon Quest 11. My wife hates it. I don't blame her.
Is it because of the repetitive dialogue and the music?
Would you say it's the repetitive dialogue and the music? Yes. She confirms, Rowdy. She confirms. 10-4.
Yeah, I figured. Because I put 85 hours into that game.
So you had to hear that battle music for 84 hours.
Dude, I'm telling you, you have to change it up. You have to change it to, because you can change it to Dragon Quest,
right?
You can change it to Dragon Quest 8. You could also change it to synthesized or symphonic versions of the songs. So you've got to go to your sound settings. You've got to switch it up every few hours.
I like the orchestrated songs for the first couple hours.
Yep, you got to switch it, man.
Then they got old, and I just finished one quest with some of the most annoying people in it. So it's definitely, now it's not as bad as Tales of Vesperia. Like, the characters really annoyed me. The voice acting just was horrifying in that game for some characters. And they had way too much of a reliance on using, like, Blastia cores. That's all they talked about. So this game is not doing that. So it's not too bad. The fighting is really good. I really like the characters that I have right now. For a turn-based game, it's great. I like it so far. I'm really enjoying it. I would like to be able to stream it over to my PC, but they don't quite have that functionality just yet on the Series X. But I can stream it to my phone through xCloud.
There you go.
And I played a little bit of it on xCloud with the controller as the screen, and it was functional. I'm not saying it was good. I'm not really even saying it was utilitarian. It was functional.
So, you do know that in that game, you could also, once you beat a chapter in the game, you can replay that chapter in 8-bit mode, right?
You can actually play the whole game that way right now. It's the S version or the special version. So I can go and change it to 2D mode anytime I want. And I keep finding all these little side quests that make you go back and play the old Dragon Quest games that give me a whole bunch of nostalgia in my brain.
Yep.
It's great. I ran into one of those recently and beat a bongo playing demon. It was a good time. It's like being in a haunted house with Donkey Konga. All right.
It's a fun game, man.
It's good. I'm gonna play more of it, but I'm gonna hide it. Yeah, it is. If you are a bystander of someone who is playing Dragon Quest, first,
it's not fun.
Get help. Go find some headphones, because the people that you love around you will hate you.
Yep.
And they might thump you in the head. All right, that is it for the game. Do you have any more games that we need to talk about?
No, I think that's it. Yep, that's it.
All right, so we have next up bonus points, where we are going to talk about, do we think Nintendo can survive the next gen? We'll see you after this heavily sponsored break. Musical interlude is provided by Burger King console called the Impossible Console. We've hired a crack team of game developers like Dennis Dyack and Peter Molyneux to develop this beautiful beast of a machine. It's technically not available right now and probably never will be. We might even go bankrupt trying to put it together, but who cares? We're visionaries, and there's a new version of Unreal Engine we have to add to it.
Hey, so after we talked about this earlier and Dennis Dyack, I looked into Two Human, and did you know that Two Human was actually in development before Eternal Darkness?
Oh, I did not know that.
Two Human.
I'm going to have to go play it.
Two Human was in development for 11 years before it finally came out.
It's absolutely free.
It was
on the Microsoft Store.
So yeah, I'm surprised they're not paying you for copies of it.
I want to compare it to Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, don't.
No, that'd be a fun episode.
Yeah, no. That game is like a twin stick shooter RPG that is like
based on Techno Vikings.
Yes. Like you play as Baldur and you are too human because you have less cybernetic enhancements than the rest of the gods.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah. It's okay. I actually really liked it.
All right, you want to introduce us on the bonus points?
Yeah, man. Before we get started giving out the bonus points, if you like what we're doing, drop on by our Twitter at LamerGamersCast and give us a follow. You want to keep up with us lamers because there's always something going on, like, a hurricane or tropical storm, another hurricane, snakes crawling in Travis's dishwasher, random petrochemical plants exploding near my house. And you could join the fun by replying to our bonus points topic that we post up on Twitter.
Bonus points this week.
It might be a doozy this week.
Can Nintendo survive the next gen? Now, we did kind of put a disclaimer, when we asked for people to answer that, we're not saying Nintendo is most definitely going to burn in a big money pit. No, or a toaster pit. There's toasters everywhere. We're talking about, like, what do the technical aspects of it look like down the line? How long could it possibly last in this generation? Or do you think we're going to lose third-party support? So what you thinking the Switch's life cycle or span is going to look like in this gen, Mr. 5000?
Third-party support is going to be almost non-existent, I bet.
Ooh.
Just because if you look at years ago on the Wii, so they were still making Call of Duty games that would come out on all three consoles, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and the Wii. But the Wii versions were these dumbed down, like, point at the screen versions of them, like almost on-rail shooters. So I was wondering, how long would a company be willing to do that? Because by the time that the Wii U came out, they were actually able to port some of the same games that were being released on the other consoles. And then at the beginning of the Switch's life cycle, the same thing. But at this point, now that we have the PS5 or the PS5 and the Xbox Series X that are out, how much longer are these companies going to support the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, which they could actually somewhat make Switch versions of those games? They're just not going to be able to do this next gen version and make a dumbed down version for Switch. Now, when I say dumbed down version, like, I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, it can't run them the way that the new consoles
If you were part of the console wars, that's an insult, Rowdy.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, they're just not going to be able to do it. Like, whenever I got, what was it, Immortals Phoenix Rising, I actually almost bought it on Switch. But I bought it on PS5, because it's my shiny new console.
Well, yeah.
But, Immortals Phoenix Rising, I think that game is one of the last ones we're going to see that's going to be full third-party support for the Switch. But that's, I think, the only drawback, I think, for the Switch right now. I mean, Nintendo, I mean, they're obviously in a league of their own. They've stopped trying to compete with current gens. And then the games they put out.
Nintendo gonna Nintendo.
Do what?
Nintendo gonna Nintendo.
Exactly. Nintendo gonna Nintendo. They definitely not gonna Nintendo. So that was bad.
Keep it going, Rowdy.
I mean, they're still going to make good Mario games and good first-party games and stuff like that. And if you do have third-party support, like, you'll probably get, like, Rabbids games from Ubisoft and stuff like that. But I don't think you're going to see titles that are going to release across all three companies anymore.
So the big thing that I think is going to hold Nintendo back in the end is the CPU.
Mm-hmm.
There's just, you can't fit anything that is that strong inside that toaster. I mean, it is a tablet in the end. I think that's going to be the most detrimental factor to trying to get some of these massive AAA games that are, I mean, you look at Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Cyberpunk and some of these other games that you kind of question, how the heck are they making something this massive?
Yeah.
You know? Like, that, they obviously have hundreds of people developing them. And I don't think we're going to see games like that unless they're incredibly watered down and look like Cyberpunk on the Xbox One.
Watered down? That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Watered down toast is terrible. So, at the same time, though, Nintendo is a companion console in my mind. It is definitely something that everybody has a purpose for. It's the only game in town that is really, actually portable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these cloud gaming systems, they're portable to an extent. I'm sorry, but your mobile internet sucks.
Yep.
It is not good at all. Your 5G connection, your 5 gigahertz connection inside your house is functional if you're playing wirelessly, but if you know the difference between 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz, you are very limited to where you can go in that house and still make it actually not have lag.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have I don't know, internet that has been blessed upon by the Comcast gods or Spectrum gods like Rowdy does, or you have that Google Fiber, there are still problems with it. It tends to look softer. Now, the Nintendo Switch, though, feels better. You look at the new Doom that came out to the Switch and compare it to Stadia. The Switch feels better. It doesn't look as good, but it's got a lot better reaction whenever you move things around, right? Because it's directly connected. And I think there's still going to be that place for a Switch console. Now, I do think, though, Nintendo is going to give us Switch Plus or New Switch or Super New Switch Edition, whatever they're going to call it. And I don't think it's going to be too confusing like we had with the Wii to the Wii U.
Christ.
I don't know. Maybe it will be. Maybe they'll pull another problem where they try to release a Switch U.
I really thought that when they announced the Wii U that it was a tablet add-on to the Wii,
which would have been kind of cool. But I mean, I like the Wii U as a console. I love the controller, but I do think Nintendo is going to, like you said, run into third-party support problems. But they have Animal Crossing, they have Mario, they have everything that is going to, eat into all the other companies. If you look at like the top games, selling games on Amazon right now this year, it's like 7 out of 10 are Nintendo games, which is why they're never going to drop the price on those games.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have seen the whole, almost David and Goliath story with Nintendo Wii when Nintendo stopped making good decisions and essentially let third-party junk fill up their console. And that's kind of what scares me right now, right? Because what exclusives do we really know about coming to Nintendo within the next year or so?
We better get damn Metroid and Bayonetta. Dude.
Yeah. But Nintendo's always like that. They're always kind of keeping their cards close. So I really shouldn't be complaining about that. But we'll see. I'm curious to see whenever the current like mid-tier last-gen systems are struggling to keep up with even cross-gen games. It does worry me a little bit. Well, let's see what some lamers say online. So we'll go ahead and start with the Console Gaming Crew podcast. Because once again, bonus points is all about, there's not exactly a right answer to this. We wanted to see what everybody's points of view were on this topic. They say, if the Switch comes out with the HD version that they have been talking about before, it would help them stay with these systems. But we still think they will stay around just because of the exclusives they have and what they can do with those IPs. Yeah? Release a theme park.
I know I was talking about, first party and third party games, but I totally forgot about games like Mario and Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is a third party game making a game that's only available on the Switch.
Well, look at Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah. So they could do that. Mm-hmm. All right. So next, Tony Coffee at the Goomba states, it's different enough to coexist. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's
You want to get the next one too?
Yeah. Hour a Day Gamer at Hour a Day Gamer on Twitter. Oh yeah, it'll survive. Nintendo will always be around. The majority of their market is catered towards young kids and family. That's a market that the next-gen consoles just don't seem worried about overall. Maybe a few games here and there, but nothing like Nintendo.
See, that comment is like fire to some people.
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo's just a kid's console. Now, I'm not misinterpreting it as that, though. I actually think that's a valid point.
Yeah.
They do need markets to younger kids. I mean, I look at Game Pass and think, like, would I want a kid to play on Game Pass? Now, they are trying to do more family-friendly games, but I also, at the same time, don't want them going around on Fallout 4, which treats people like they're detachable.
Yup.
Of course, I played those kind of games when I was, a teenager. So, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think that's a really valid point. They have a whole market that, I don't think PlayStation is really trying to sell to a younger audience, are they? I mean, Astro's Playroom.
I mean, that's more of a tech demo than anything, and kids aren't really excited about Astro's Playroom.
That is true.
Basically, the only thing that that a lot of these consoles are trying to cater to kids is Fortnite.
Yeah. All right, next up, the Midwest Meltdown podcast. They say absolutely portable, great exclusives, and reliable. It will sure hold up with the next gen or current gen, however you view it. That is true. You could probably toss... I've seen the Switch being dropped by drones.
Duh.
I have not tried to drop my Xbox Series X, and I would imagine you have not tried to throw your PlayStation 5 out the window.
I will never.
Yeah, they're hefty.
All right.
Those are some chonker consoles.
Next up, Nerds Amalgamated stated, funny you should ask that this week. We spoke about it and how it's surprisingly not scalped as hard as Sony or Xbox. They've also got they've also been making it for a while, and it got scalped a little bit there at the beginning of quarantine and everything.
It was hard to find.
But, I mean, you can get them now. And then I am the Cheese's response. Back in April, when the new lights came out, they were impossible to find for months, besides from scalpers. I think that had a lot to do with Animal Crossing. Because when Animal Crossing came out, like, Nintendo Switches sold like crazy. Plus, that was the beginning of quarantine, and everybody wanted to get their hands on the Switch and Animal Crossing at that time. It was
that's when video game escapism was at its zenith during this whole mess.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much.
All right, so I had to retweet this one because it's so true. It's simple. From I Am the Cheese Again, that's at Replicant Pinky. They just said Nintendo will survive us all.
Yeah.
Truth. Nintendo is going to be here when you are dust.
Oh man.
That's dark. All right, you want to skip down to Lit Gaming Arena podcast?
Yeah, Lit Gaming Arena podcast states, "Oh, without a doubt, the Switch won't stop being a money printer."
Yes, I had to supply a required GIF for that, which shows Mayamato and sadly Iwata with the Switch where it just says it prints out money.
Oh.
I know, it's a sad one. All right, next up we have at X Jester says, "Oh, easy. Yeah, the Switch is and will always be a winner. I definitely think we'll be getting a premium Switch with the next year or so. Ooh. Would be awesome to see a Breath of the Wild 2 bundle with a Super Switch. By the way, I love the idea of calling it a Super Switch like Beat 'em Ups Wood does.
The Super Switch.
I would be okay with the Super Switch. I think that would work. I think it's less confusing than Wii U.
Yeah, it sounds better than calling it the new 3DS.
Yeah, Nintendo was like, I think they were just kind of like stung by calling it the Wii U, and they just started calling everything new.
So then it'd be like what, the new Switch XL?
Yes. New Switch Turbo Hyper Edition Alpha. Pretty much.
All right. So at online Tech Tips states, yes, if there's a new iteration of the Switch coming and they don't split titles between consoles, then there's no reason to think it'll end anytime soon. Third-party games are what make the system so desirable. I don't know. I think I could kind of argue with that one, just because. Have you seen the Switch store?
Yeah.
It's
a sad place.
Awful on there. And
of course, have you seen the Xbox store lately?
Oh, they're all pretty rough, man, but Nintendo will let anything on there. As a matter of fact, me and my wife were going through yesterday trying to find how many games on there were rated mature and had nudity.
Oh. Ugh.
Let me tell you, on Switch, it's a lot. Not even joking.
So I know they recently changed something on there to where games could no longer be 99 cents. They had to be like a minimum of $2.99 now to avoid people just putting out the worst games ever created and getting to the top of the leaderboards.
Yeah, so there were two games that got put on the Switch store at different times, and it turns out they used the exact same assets that could be purchased from shovelware sites, and basically just changed the names. And that's it.
Sounds about right. I think we played some of those and they were terrible.
Oh my god, that was amazing. But that's kind of my beef with talking about third party games. Now I know when we say third party, we really mean like Ubisoft and companies like that, not like these little pop-up companies that are on like the Switch store. But I was also just thinking about how I personally think that an updated Switch is a bad idea.
Oh.
Crickets.
I disagree. The angry crickets looking at you with menace and making their violin legs.
And my reason behind that, like, I would have one the day they come out instantly.
Me too.
But when they did the new 3DS, there were websites that were putting out dual reviews for games where they reviewed them on the regular 3DS and then the new 3DS. Whereas Hyrule Warriors would get upwards in like the 7.5s, and Hyrule Warriors on the original 3DS was getting like 3.5 4s. So they don't run as good on the old consoles. Yeah. That is kind of my issue with that.
Screw it. I want the fancy one.
All right, next one.
Texas Blues at Real Texas Blues. I don't know much about it, but I do know Nintendo has a very dedicated fan base, so I'd say yes.
Dedicated is putting it lightly.
It's an understatement. Yeah.
All right, next one. Drink a beer and play a game states, it's enough of its own niche that it could though it'll need a pro version to keep some more third-party games on it. There's a way to keep third-party people on there. Like I said, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle is one of my favorite Switch games.
Well, look at what they're doing with that Monster Hunter stuff with Capcom, which I'm super surprised they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised about that. Next one, at Voxel Hero, Paranoid Android says, very easily as long as it continues to offer unique and fun games. Well, yeah, Nintendo.
Budget Arcade Podcast states, Nintendo has proven time and time again that they march to a different beat. They're not part of the console wars. The Switch was their next gen. If they decide to do another console, it'll be completely different. Yeah, I can see that. Just trying to stay on the outside of things. To stay unique.
It's the alt gen, not the next gen.
Yeah.
It's alternative generation. It's like timelines with Marvel Universe.
Don't. There's too many.
No, we'll have a reboot soon.
I'll go on for hours about it.
Okay, let me go ahead and do at Japan Lover 79. The Switch can definitely survive. It doesn't need fancy graphics and an SSD to be a great machine. I mean, technically it's like a solid state drive though. What it has is portability, and no other console can say that right now. Very truth. All the truth.
Hey, so
much truth.
Real quick, I have a huge micro SD card in mine. And when me and my wife play Animal Crossing, if we start them up at the same time, my wife's will start quicker than mine because she has it on the actual hard drive of the Switch and mine is on the micro SD.
Yeah, the Switch is actually a pretty quick system. I mean, it honestly isn't in the leagues of the other ones, but it also doesn't have to compute as much data at the same time and all that stuff. So it's snappy. But I mean, that snappiness has really moved everything to SSD because, I'm sorry, going and starting up an older Xbox or PlayStation is slow. Yeah. Once you get used to the Switch or you get used to these newer consoles.
All right, what do we got next? At Outrun GC states, probably, but I think an updated Switch would help it last. It needs some of this. Better battery, 1080p screen in handheld, updated joysticks on the Joy-Con, updated chips, as well as Breath of the Wild 2, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, hopefully spread it out over in 2021. Dude, like I said earlier, we got to have the new Metroid. We got to have Bayonetta 3. That's a must.
As long as they don't give us those stupid slide sticks that were on the 3DS. I hated that.
I can wait for Breath of the Wild 2. I need Metroid and Bayonetta.
Breath of the Wild 2 I'm more excited about. Speaking of who is excited about Breath of the Wild 2, at the Jeffrey Moore says yes. Breath of the Wild 2 will be the best-selling single-player game of the year when it comes out.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll beat that Craig Fest of Halo Infinite. All right, now we are done with the lamers on Twitter. It is time for the lamers at the Game Witness Discord. So we got our Buddy Fried shoes going up first. You want to get his?
Yeah, it's still outselling the other consoles 2 months in. They also stated false scarcity is a terrible reason to be selling worse. The Switch is just a popular system, way more attractive than console with nothing on them right now. Yeah.
I gotta say though, man, I am really stupidly enjoying some of the backwards compatibility right now, which was a big thing why I wanted the Xbox Series X. I'm enjoying the auto HDR function, but at the same time, I'm a nerd that is like trained to look for color differences and stuff, so I don't know if it's going to be as appreciated by non-art nerds.
I can see that.
You know?
Nerd.
Like, yeah, I know. Like if you compare the pictures on or load up the non-auto HDR version of Dragon Quest versus the auto HDR version of it, it's just The lines around the characters are much more black. The colors are strong, but it gets really wonky though at night. I will say that. Like, not in the real world, but in the game.
Yeah.
Night, like, reds are really weird looking. But anyway, next up, Drufus says, one reason the Switch is outselling. There's like 2 PlayStation 5s or Xboxes on the market right now. My Walmart actually put on their electronics cabinet saying they will not sell them directly. It has to be through the website only.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, that's really probably why it's selling less than the Switch. It's a little bit easier to build a Switch nowadays.
Yeah, because it's tablet parts.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got, custom chips, but, I mean, everything else is tablet parts.
Right. Okay, this next one is a long one. It's our last one. I like Shoulder's name. Shoulder changes his name up in Game Witness all the time. It's Ho 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 Shoulder. So, do you want to just do different paragraphs on this one?
No, man, you got this.
All right, Nintendo is in that awkward phase where it's not quite next gen, but it isn't exactly last gen either. Think of it as more like the 8.5 5th gen of sorts. And as a result, support will continue, but expected to dry up closer to 2022-2023, which will be about the time I can see a full-on next-generation Switch will arrive. I've gone back and forth on a Switch Pro, but aside from Nintendo releasing mid-cycle refresh that fully unlocks the clock speeds of the GPU and CPU via smaller manufacturing process, maybe 14 nanometers or even 12 nanometer process, I don't see Nintendo going with a new chip until the next gen Switch arrives. This is a good answer. Despite support, I mean, you can't do this on Twitter. I mean, this is a Discord thing.
Yeah.
Right? Despite support drying up, though, I can still see a market for more ports and remasters for the Switch. Yeah, they love them some ports. That'll help keep the system going. The gaming on-the-go niche the Switch has right now will continue into the next version and possibly until VR becomes more withered. I think VR is non-existent. So yes, I think the Switch can survive at least into the next gen, but certainly will not last while in it. I think that's a good one to end it on. Like, that's good stuff.
You say VR is non-existent, but you should go look up how many Oculus Quest 2s got sold over the holidays.
12.
It's ridiculous, dude.
I actually do. I actually want to get one of those, or at least one of the ones that work on their own without being hooked up to a computer. Just because there's so many historical VR things nowadays.
Oh, it's ridiculous how much is on there. Like different virtual museums and stuff like that you can walk through, and it's really cool, dude.
That is what I'm there for. Hey, that's a long freaking show, man.
I've got over 2 hours recorded.
I've got 2 hours.
Yeah.
This is a long show. I wasn't planning on it being this long. Like, I knew there was a lot here.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens, yeah. It's all our sponsors, man. They're paying for it, paying for us to be here.
Yeah, they're paying for our time, man.
Yeah,
we've got
great,
that. We've got big chicken money.
Big chicken money. All right. Well, you got anything else before we close out the show, Mr. 5000?
No, man, that's it for me.
All right. Well, check us out in a couple weeks. We're going to be doing bi-weekly podcasts. So we're going to be changing some things up for this year of the Season 3, Lamer Gamers 3.0. I don't know what you call it. But right now we're still kind of hitting the every other week podcast. I think that works a lot better with our schedules at the moment. We might see some more side quests. I think I'm definitely moving away from trying to get all the news. Just try to make it more fun in general.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we can't keep up with Reddit.
No.
We tried. Reddit makes me angry.
It's ridiculous trying to keep up with all the newses.
Yeah. So just expect probably long shows occasionally, but they're going to be fun, dang it. Right? And we have great sponsors now. We might have new sponsors every other week or every month.
Like I said, man, that's what happens when you start making that big chicken money.
Mm-hmm, that big chicken money. they've been selling on the podcast. All right, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks. Next week, though, we are going to start gaming nights on the Discord. So follow our Twitter and keep an eye out for that. It will probably be every other Tuesday on the week we do not release podcasts. We're going to, or at least somebody will get a game together and we'll have some fun. Or stream or something. I need to get something back where I see people again. It's nice seeing you. So,
It's
all
nice.
right, that's it.
All right, man.
Hey, have a good one, guys. We'll see you later on.
Bye.